Hello, everybody. Welcome to Moment of Presence with Moksha
Hi.
Grace Coaching, Michelle Barone and Krista Barone.
Hello. How you doing?
Happy almost gobble gobble.
I know.
It's
What is
crazy.
time? What is anything? I don't know anymore.
Right?
I know.
It is crazy how fast time is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is wild.
Yeah. So
Yes.
welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. And if you know anybody that is a little hesitant about the holidays starting,
Or
life in general,
maybe you notice that they get emotionally worked up in any sort of social situation,
yeah,
whether they're aware of it or not. Tag
right?
them. Send them
Yeah,
this video.
yeah.
We're going to preemptively say that.
So it looks like it's just, laugh it off like ha ha ha, but we kind of tricked you a little bit in a good way because
No.
it it it, it is about laughing it off, but yet it's a little bit more deeper than that.
Well, yeah, it does go deeper than that.
Right. And it's about uh, being in situations that definitely occur over the holidays and when any group of people get together. And we can be, and I know trigger is such a like word of the year. But we get triggered. Somebody pushes our button and we react. And then afterwards we may or may not uh, go, oof, I probably could have handled that a little bit better. And so that's what we're talking about today is leave the drama at the front door, leave the triggers, leave your buttons out of this, and just have a really nice holiday and be grateful and thankful uh, for the time that you're spending with the people that you care about.
And if you're
Um,
curious the difference between grateful and thankful, check out our shockingly delightful episode for Monday.
yes, because we did discuss that. Um, and so, why don't we start with Krista? Why don't you tell us who you are?
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Krista. I am a fractional COO and ops consultant. I have a business called Wicked Wisdom Consulting. Let me take the bottom thing off. There you go. Right underneath me is my name and Wicked Wisdom Consulting. You can go to wickedwisdomconsulting.com and learn more about my services and what I do. Basically, in a nutshell, I help people run their business. But on the personal side, I have a big passion in spirituality and mindfulness, and we both have very robust histories that allow us to have some interesting perspectives on things.
Yes.
And who are you?
And I am Michelle Barone of Moksha Grace Coaching, and I do emotional liberation coaching. And what that means is that I help people do exactly what we're talking about today, except I teach them how to do it like on a dime, like turn on a situation and you get your button pushed, but yet you know how to process it really fast so that you are managing your emotions instead of your emotions managing you
Mm-hmm.
and taking you over and holding you hostage sometimes or wrecking havoc of your life or your career or your relationships. So that is in a nutshell what we're talking about today. We're just using the holidays as a backdrop for these situations.
The holidays is kind of like the boxing ring. I don't know what phrase I was going to say there. It's like
Mhm.
the boss level of a video game. That might be outdated now. That might be more from my childhood when things were
Mhm.
called like the boss level. Um, it's where, you know, you're in a you have the opportunity to be in what could be a high pressure situation
Mm-hmm.
with potentially like everybody that you know and love.
Yeah.
And, you know, we one year had a situation where we had our normal Thanksgiving attendees, and then we had some other family that came in from out of town, and there was a massive blowout where a family
Oh
member
yeah.
lost her shit. Lost her shit. Period in between each of those words.
Yeah.
Um, over a different opinion on something, and she didn't know how to regulate her nervous system. She didn't know how to handle it, and so I would use the phrase flew off the handle.
Yeah.
And you know, it was actually a little bit of a scary situation just because of how intense the emotions got so quickly.
Yeah.
And you know, it was a situation where nobody was intending, it wasn't even anything like controversial in the conversation. It was just a difference in how two people ate. And it was what started out as being playful rapidly became this is not the other person very quickly decided this was not a playful conversation to them and flipped on a dime, and then
Right.
chaos ensued.
And it's so interesting because I didn't remember that until you just mentioned
Really?
it. Like I had to like
Oh
think
gosh.
about, wait, what is she talking about?
Hmm.
And then yeah, it all came back and I remember because it was I think it was our first Thanksgiving in the
No,
house. It wasn't.
no.
Um
Maybe it was one of the early ones, but it wasn't the first one because it's the first Thanksgiving. Oh, well, no, because we moved into this house right after Thanksgiving, so maybe it was the
right.
first Thanksgiving in this house.
And I just remember being so upset because I had like all these plans and it was like so big for me. Um it was a big moment for me and I was so happy and so proud to have like everyone at the table um and it's we talk about laughing these things off or things that happen that we can laugh about later and that's not something that I would laugh about. Is it something that
I mean,
there's a
I
lot of
will, but
lessons
suit
that
yourself.
came from that? Well, I just can't laugh it off because I remember walking around the backyard, like pacing and crying at the same time, just because I was just like, how did this go so wrong so fast? Like,
It
what
really was.
happened?
And I'm sure everyone can relate to that situation where like everyone's joking and laughing and having fun, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh nope, we aren't having fun anymore. Oh, okay, they're not joking anymore. Oh
And those
boy,
are you
okay.
and those are usually like the worst ones. Like
Yeah.
it's one thing to like see the train about to collide or go off the track, but be able to like readjust or change
Yeah.
the conversation. But in these instances, because I can think of one other in our older house where a different person walked out, slammed the door so hard that the whole entire house shook.
No, that was this
Um,
house too.
and again, it was one of those situations where it went from 0 to 100 in seconds, and there wasn't time to pivot or make an adjustment.
Well, for
And
those on the other end, but the person who had the outburst did have plenty of time to make adjustments, and
right,
that is more of what we're going to talk about today is how to not
how to not
allow
be that
yourself,
person.
yeah, how to not get to that point in emotional disarray that a scene is caused or a door is slammed or words are said that probably shouldn't be said, and just how to actually enjoy the holiday and not be triggered by everything.
Right. And, you know, the biggest thing that I can say that I go through and I teach clients about is getting really curious. And
Hmm.
so if you know that there's certain people that are coming over that there can be some, knocking heads, get curious now and start practicing
Hmm.
some of the conversations that can come up and how you will respond to that,
Hmm.
not react.
Yeah.
And so if, somebody brings up a topic that is not that you don't want really discussed at the table because you know everyone's going to have a different opinion and it could go the wrong way.
Hmm.
How will you pivot? What can you put in place? You know, when you guys were kids, I used to take around a diaper bag that literally had something in it for every situation. I was prepared. I had a book, I had snacks, I had drinks, I had
Toys.
any extra change of clothes, extra diapers, an extra shirt for me. I mean, I was prepped.
Hmm.
This is the same thing. It's just being emotionally prepped. And so,
Yeah.
what tools and techniques can you pack in your bag if you're going to someone's house? Or if they're coming to, coming to your house, what tools and techniques can you pack and get ready for? So,
I have a favorite.
go ahead.
My favorite, we've always had people in the family who love their guilt trips. They love their bringing up situations that we weren't available for, or whatever it is, or bring up just awkward topics that really I don't want to talk about, but I know it's going to come up anyway. And so what I started doing, which even just thinking about doing it is funny to me, um, is I literally, if a topic comes up or whatever the situation is, I literally just start chuckling to myself. It's not like a belly laugh, but I'll just be like, well, and then I'll answer the question. But I start it with a little bit of a laugh because that laugh and that smile releases some endorphins. So already I'm feeling better.
Great.
But it also is a subtle signal to the other person of like, this is slightly inappropriate to ask me. This is not a topic that I want to get into. And so if someone brings up, oh, how's work or how's dating or whatever it is that might come up, okay, I guess we're going to be talking about that. This is my answer.
Right.
And I just, and through that little chuckle, I just instantly let it go. And sometimes I'll have fun with it. Maybe I'll throw a curveball back at them, and come up with some weird answer to give them back. The other thing, because you mentioned, topics coming up that, everyone's going to have a differing opinion on. It's all right to say, you know what? I really would love if we didn't talk about that.
Right.
Oh, no, it'll be fine. No, really, we're not going to talk about that. So let's please find a different topic. Like, boop, 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 boop. What was everyone's thoughts on that? Maybe it's about
Mhm.
a TV show or whatever it is. A little bit less intense than like the latest election, something like that.
Yeah. And I think it's important to know, you know,
Hmm.
hopefully you know everyone that's going to be at the table, but there may be that person that you don't know that somebody brings and you
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with them. And I think so having compassion,
Hmm.
right, is also important, knowing that there may be something going on with that person that you're not aware of that triggers them because of something that is said at the table, and how will you handle that? And
Yeah.
so,
I'm chuckling just because I know who this is based off of.
oh, and just the people that you do know that you can prep for,
Hmm.
it's basically going in and saying, you know what? I have unconditional love for that person.
Yeah.
I accept them for who they are. It doesn't mean you have to like everything that they do or that they say. It's you have, just like you want to be unconditionally accepted for
Hmm.
who you are, we have to do the same for the other person.
Yeah.
And again, it's not saying that you have to accept what they stand for, what they like, what they're saying. It's just they are who they are, and you cannot change other people. You can only make the changes within yourself. When you
Hmm.
make the changes within yourself, and my amazing mentor, Steve, teaches this and says it over and over and over again. If you can change within yourself, right? If you can make changes within yourself, you can make changes around in your environment.
Hmm.
And it is the same. It is so important to remember in this situation,
Yeah.
because if you come in with a higher attitude, a better attitude, a higher vibe, right? Higher
Oh, okay. I
frequency.
wasn't sure if you were talking about like better energy or like a higher than thou? You're talking
No,
about
no, no. Yeah,
more
higher
positive
energy.
energy.
Right.
Okay.
And so somebody says something and you're like, that's interesting. And then you pivot into a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like me, have a game prepped and ready where it's a jar full of topics and let's pull a topic to talk about. And
Yeah.
you already have that preset of
Yeah.
all the safe topics.
And another part of that too, you just said something else that made me think about it, is if you are one of the groups of people where you have enough room where everyone can sit at one table, or maybe there's a couple tables, but either way, there's everyone sitting together. When we have a table, everyone sits at the same table. However, we have to make that happen. And we started noticing that there were two people in particular who really did not get along. They rubbed each other the wrong way. It just was not the right vibe for them to be together. And it was so funny because the one person always sat in the same seat. Every dinner that we have ever had in the history of our family, this person sits in the same seat. That is his spot. That is his uh um not custom.
Traditional.
Culturally, that is the seat that this person sits at.
Right.
And the other person who's coming into the home
Mm-hmm.
would somehow every dinner, every holiday, pick the seat right next to it. And we would be like, okay, how can we, we're looking at this and they're putting their drinks down, and we're like, okay, this is not going to work. How can we come up with a reason to move these people apart from each other? And then we realized, just put some freaking place cards out. Just tell
Yes.
people where they should sit. People respond
Yes.
fine to that. Take into
And it's
consideration
fun.
any needs they might have. Maybe they're a little bit of a larger person, so they need a seat with a little bit more room,
Right.
whatever. And yeah, have fun with it. Make cute little place cards, or make a cool little origami swans or something. Have fun with it. But that
Turkeys.
saved so much headache over the
Right.
last few years of strategically placing the table so that this person sits far across the table from this person, and the person next to them also likes to chit chat, so that'll be a perfect combo. And then this other person that doesn't quite
Mm-hmm.
get along, we'll sit them over here, because then it just takes a little bit of planning, and it saves so much
Yeah.
headache. So
It,
much
it
headache.
it really does. And then the other technique is that
Hold on. Hi, Jenny. No, you didn't miss this. We're live right now. Hi, we're just talking about Thanksgiving tables and how to separate people that don't do well together. Go ahead.
hi Jenny. Um the other thing that we did is that we would have a little mini meeting of
Mm-hmm.
those of us that would be ambassadors
Yeah.
for the ones that
And
could
buffers.
potentially
Mm-hmm.
um, say something that
Mm-hmm.
maybe is offhand or
Yeah.
what have you.
Well,
And
particularly if we knew like someone was going through something right then, or like we
right.
knew something that someone didn't want to talk about or whatever.
So we would have a pre-meeting and
Mm-hmm.
decide how we were going to do the buffering
Mm-hmm.
and what we would do
Mm-hmm.
and how we would make our own eye contact, like,
Yeah.
you got it, you got this, you got this, are you
Yeah.
good?
Handle, do a little nudge for me, change the
And
conversation.
so not necessarily a kick under the table, but maybe
Maybe
an
a thigh
energetic,
slap or like an arm nudge.
like an energetic kick, but
Yeah.
somehow some way pivot, make a pivot. Yes, a pre-meeting for buffering.
100%,
It
Jenny. I'll tell
works,
you what,
Jenny.
it changes the game. And listen,
That and the place
and
cards.
the place cards, so you can specifically put people at certain places on the table, so
Yes.
you can separate those that might be the problem kids, even though they're
And we're
adults.
not the problem kids, but
I
just
know I say it in quotations. I'm being playful.
you
Um,
know
but it's kind of like a pre-meeting for a
the
holiday.
peacekeepers. Oh, the
Peacekeepers, okay.
peacekeepers. I
Having a
love that.
having like a little bit of a powwow beforehand is kind of like meditating in the morning.
Right.
it sets you in a good tone. It sets you at a high place. So that way, if there's a dip, you can buoy back up a little bit more easily than if you didn't do it at all. And now you're not prepared for any of it.
Right. You're pre gaming for the holidays,
Basically,
and it
just
works,
not
and
without alcohol
it's
or
not even
without
just
alcohol.
right. It's not even just the holidays. It's for any, like we said, any
Any
gathering.
gathering.
So okay, so what can we do if it's for us, right? So we're in the middle of a
Wait, hold on.
situation.
Okay, go ahead.
We're
Sorry.
in the middle of a situation,
Mhm.
and somebody comes over and starts messing with my gravy.
Oh Lord.
Let's just say.
Our
How
gravy.
do you, or they start, or they start
They start asking me
critiquing,
questions that I really don't want to talk about. Or
right?
they're bringing up past situations that, honestly, I don't find that funny.
Or critiquing something that you're doing and you don't want to be
Mm.
told how to do
Oh,
something.
that's a big one.
Right. And so what can you do? That, so what is a technique? I mean, I know that you said the one that you talked about.
I got one.
Yes, yes, yes,
A single breath is incredibly underrated. A single
yes.
breath is a meditation in and of itself. A single breath is a way to, if especially when paired with something like a visualization of kind of like putting a barrier around you, is a great way to clear that energy off that someone is sending your
Mm-hmm.
way without having to like physically do something. Is just a single, and then you can respond, not react. I wanted to make sure I got that right. You can
Mm-hmm.
respond versus react, because when we don't take that breath, when we don't take that pause, is when we then are more likely to fly off the handle, have an emotional reaction, cause a scene, dot, 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 dot. So for me, something like just a very simple breath is all
Yep.
it takes. And honestly, we've had someone that I'll do a breath and they'll go, oh, what, you don't want to talk about it? And so I'll do another breath. I never said I didn't want to talk about it. I was just clearing my energy. Here is the answer to what you're saying. Or a breath, let's say they're critiquing what I'm doing. I appreciate that. I like doing it this way, but I appreciate the input. I'll definitely keep that rattling around in the noggin.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Another good one
mhm.
is, you know what? Hold that thought. I'll be right back.
Oh, that if you are in a pinch
That's
and you are
awesome.
really feeling the energy
Yes.
building and that breath is not working, that's your moneymaker right there. You know
Yep.
what? Hold that thought. I got to run to the bathroom. You know what? Hold that thought. The stuffing's in the oven. I got to go check on it. You know what? Hold that thought. I think I just heard the dog outside. Let me go make sure whoever is all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. It's not lying. You're really going to go and look at something, but
But you're also going to ground.
you're also going to ground, and it gets you out of the situation so that you
Mm-hmm.
can separate the energy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you have control over your emotions. And
Yeah.
by allowing yourself that space
Mm-hmm.
to walk away physically or
Mm-hmm.
just emotionally, like the breath, removing yourself and just taking a moment
Mm-hmm.
gives you that time to then go back in
Yeah.
and manage however you need to, if you even decide to, because hopefully they've moved on to a different
Yeah.
conversation or a different situation.
Or or there's the off chance that they're going to say, "Oh, I'll come with you." In which case, that walk to wherever you're going, you have the opportunity to take a lot of breaths and calm yourself down.
But that is a really good point, because we're not talking about running away. We're not talking
Mm-hmm.
about escaping. We're talking about giving yourself a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that person, even in that situation where, oh, I'll come with you. Well, you know what? I'm actually going to stop in the bathroom real quick and then I'm going to go do that. So just, I'll be right back. And
Honestly,
then
the bathroom is the
take
safest bet because no one's going to follow you to
time.
the bathroom.
Right. Take the
You know?
time for, yeah, I'll come with you.
Yeah, Jenny, tell me about it. Well, unfortunately, I no longer know this person, but we had one of those.
Yeah. Um, And so there's a lot of ways where you can
Yeah.
stay in control. You can manage your emotions. Now, there's also, if you know that
Hold that thought
you're,
for 1 second because I want to touch on
yes,
that a little bit more.
yes,
The concept of you're buying yourself a second to decompress your nervous system a little bit. And here's the thing: is if you are already working on this, if you are in the process of doing mindfulness techniques and you're getting coached or you're going to therapy or whatever it is, that moment is going to be just a deep breath in and out. And maybe in a couple of off situations you need a longer amount of time, but if you're not doing any sort of work already to help relieve your nervous system, you are going to need more of that separation. So the it's we've talked about it before, it's
hmm,
preparing for the you're preparing for the situation, not in the situation. So if you
right,
start working on it ahead of time, and listen, there's exactly a week to start working on it now, and you can do a whole lot of different strategies. Mine personally, genuinely, is somewhat of exposure therapy. Find something that really grinds your gears and just kind of give yourself little spurts of it every day until Thanksgiving and breathe through it and allow yourself to breathe through it. If you hate Trump, listen to some Trump videos. If you hate Kamala, listen to some Kamala videos because you know that's probably going to come up at Thanksgiving.
right,
So allow yourself to just do that in a safe space where you can breathe through it so that on Thanksgiving, it's a quick breath in and out, you're good.
right, right. Because you've built up some tolerance for
Right,
yourself.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And the other thing is know that, when we all get together
Hmm.
now, typically, right, Thanksgiving, we haven't seen family for a while.
Yeah.
So it could be 6 months has gone by. Maybe
Hmm.
you only see these people at the holidays. So it could be a full year.
Right.
But the bottom line is that if you know them and this is what their MO is
Hmm.
every single time,
Yeah.
then you just, they're
Hmm.
doing exactly what you expected.
Yeah. And
And
that's usually where I bring in the chuckle to myself because I'm
right,
like, this
like
is just, it's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. And
I
so
was,
I make fun
you
of
can
it to
make a joke,
myself.
right? Right. Well, but you can make a joke and go, "Wow, that took you like 20 seconds longer than I expected."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had you bringing it up as you walked in.
Hmm.
Like you can kind of be funny about it,
Yeah.
and be respectful at the same time. A nap at holidays works really well. It's so funny. We were
Yeah.
just talking about that. I was putting the tree up and I was doing the lights, and we would do the lights when I was a kid, and honestly, it's the part I always end up doing because I do have a very special way of doing it.
Now you do, but as a kid,
Right. But as a kid, um I used to I used to fall asleep on the couch, and
wait, hold
then
on. She used to fall asleep, but then actually,
I would wake up just in time to decorate the tree and put the actual ornaments on the tree.
hmm,
But I did learn
yeah,
how to do the lights from my mom, and so now I find that I'm a little OCD about
you're the
how the
best
lights.
at it. Why would any of us else try to do it when you're the best at it?
Well, yeah. I mean, yes, karaoke is amazing, and that's also like I'm absolutely prepared if shit goes down. I'm bringing out the karaoke machine, and we can just karaoke
Well,
Christmas
we have a
carols.
pretty chill group this year, so I don't think
Yeah,
any shit is going to go down.
I
Um,
don't think so either. But I'm just saying that's a good one. Yes, I
okay,
love
Tiff,
your
I gotta
mom and
throw this
taking me out.
comment up
Yeah.
there. That's hysterical.
Oh my god.
Weaponized chronic illness. Listen, I was just on a call before this where it came up about like what time people go to bed, and everyone's like, "Oh, usually I can't go to sleep until like 1 or 2," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm out by 9:30, 10 o'clock." I'm like, "Oh my god, you're so lucky!" And in my head, I'm just going, "Yeah, that's called missing an adrenal gland, bud." So I feel you on that, Tiff.
And it's glad to see you, Tiff. Um, yeah, there's lots of different. So okay, so we've done naps. We've talked about
Running to the
having
bathroom.
running to the bathroom, taking a moment. I'll be right back. Hold that thought.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about
chuckling to yourself, kind of making
Chuckling to
fun of
yourself.
it to yourself, not the person, to
Hmm.
yourself.
Hmm. Practicing
Mm-hmm.
prior to the day. So
Yep.
that way, because you already know some
Mm-hmm.
of the things that might come up that are your triggers. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Just accept it.
Yeah.
Accept that it annoys you when somebody says this to you.
Mm-hmm.
Accept because then you
Great
can
one,
figure
Tiff.
out, oh, that one's
Especially at the
really good.
holidays. It's a win-win too because you look like you're being super helpful
Yep.
and you get a break. I know someone who every single year he does all the dishes because it allows him to stand at the sink and not have to deal with everybody. It's a brilliant move. Brilliant.
And honestly, Tiff, that's also good too because
Hmm.
that person may go, "Oh no, here, let me do it for you."
Then it's a
Even
win-win-win
better.
situation. Yep.
Even better. That's
100%.
awesome. Give them something and then maybe they'll see something outside that'll just take their mind right
Distract
off of
them.
what you were talking about. Yeah, distraction. And that's another one. So, distractions, right? Have some things that can distract the group that you can bring out if you needed
Yeah.
to,
Even
like
safe
a
topic.
game,
Yeah.
right? A game, a movie.
Hmm.
Put on a flippin' movie. Put on some music that's a little bit louder. Go for a walk. Hey, we have goats, so it's like, hey, let's go check out the goats and bring them a pumpkin.
Hmm.
Shiny objects are a
Well, but I think
wonderful thing.
having some topics, some conversation topics in your head ahead of time is also very valuable because just in that example I gave where I was kind of acting it out, where someone says something and go, you know what, let's not talk about this. How about, you don't want to say, how about this weather? And I'm like, oh, how about some news topic that's equally as controversial? Have some things in mind ahead of time. And that's something that we actually did with these particular person that could be a little wonky in our family is we literally had, okay, we know they're probably going to bring up this, this, and this. So what are a couple things that we can replace that
Right.
conversation with? So, okay, well, why don't we talk about this super cool animal news that came out that everyone might be interested in?
Mm-hmm.
Or let's talk about um,
Yes.
the cold front coming in. Funny memories. Hey, oh my God, you know what? Actually, do you guys remember that time last year
Mm-hmm.
where the dog ate the pie? Exactly. Bringing up, because if you have to try to think of it in the moment, some people don't listen. Some people can think that way. I am not. If you put me on the spot, I
Yeah.
will forget what my favorite movie is. I need to know ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll still go back to, and I'm going to do it this year, the conversation starters.
Heck yeah.
They're little cards.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered them off of Amazon. They're
Mm-hmm.
conversation starters, and you can get fun ones. You can get, you know, like what's that game? Bad People
Mm-hmm.
or Cards Against Humanity. Like that. That might not be, depends on the group at your table, but those probably are not. Those aren't the ones we'll be using. But the conversation starter that I have are just, like,
Mine
what's a
last.
memory from.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say mine last year was like, what would you like to tell your younger self?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
And
someone
that's so
actually
cool.
ironically got "What are you grateful for," which was hysterical because that's
That's
typically what we do around a table.
right. That's our go-to is what is everyone grateful for this year? And then everyone goes around. And so that one kind of got, I don't want to say
Stale.
boring, but it
It
was,
got
yeah,
stale. We would
stale.
all. It's kind of like when you turn the grateful exercise in the mornings or evenings or whatever. It's just you repeat the same thing every day. It kind of loses its meaning.
Right. And so trauma dumping.
Honestly, Tiff, my answer was I'd tell my younger self to buck up, Buttercup. Get your shit together. Stop being so sensitive. And it was so funny too because everyone at the table went silent and was like, "Oh, oh, okay." Because I guess they thought I was gonna like be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're okay." And I was like, "No, buck up, babe girl. You got this. Stop crying. Get over yourself." It was
Okay.
hysterical. It was so funny. It is honestly the silent. It was like pin drop silent. It was awesome.
And so what I did was I just took the cards and I literally
Mm-hmm.
shuffled them, didn't look at them, and just shoved one card under each person's plate,
Mm-hmm.
didn't say a word.
Yeah.
And then if there was a gap in the conversation or it was time for us to pivot to a different topic. It was that moment, pull the card. Then it was like, hey, everybody, look under your card. Don't
Under your
answer the
plate.
question under your plate. Read your card, start thinking about it, and we're going to go around in a circle and we're going to talk about whatever's on there. Yeah, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
He can't even talk about that. Um, but so now the other one that we used for a family reunion
Hmm.
was I made up questions
Oh
and threw
yeah.
them in a jar.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second because that is actually a really, really cool thing, um, especially particularly during family gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're blessed to still have your grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and explain.
So I wrote down on little pieces of paper different questions that I thought, things that we didn't know, like tell us something that we don't know about your childhood. Tell us something about a time that whatever, you couldn't
Your
stop
favorite
laughing.
tradition from your
Your
childhood,
your
your best
favorite
friend
tradition.
growing up. So it was stuff that would prompt the older folks in the family to tell us a little bit about their lives, and then it got
Right.
them kind of into that nostalgic kind of zone, and it was really cool to hear stories that even their own kids were like, we have literally never heard this story before.
I remember that because
Mhm.
literally grandpa started telling us stories and
Mhm.
and everyone was like, never heard
Yeah,
any of this. Like what?
yeah.
And then there was a door slamming because someone wanted to leave. And they couldn't leave because grandpa wanted to continue telling stories because
Hey, I told you that was at this house.
he was having so much darn fun. Well, that person slammed the door twice, once here and once at the other
I'm
house.
sure it was more than twice, but all right.
And God rest her soul too. And we love them and miss them.
Oh my
And
god, yeah.
but these are the things, I mean, if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have certain things
Mhm.
that we now know how to prep for.
Well, not only
And
that, but when you can transmute the situation, and I'm going to use the word transmute the situation,
mhm,
those annoying, what used to be annoying or offensive or imposing questions and comments and things and whatever, it becomes part of the person's charm. Like we've talked about this before. Your mother would just get on my nerves. She would ask me the craziest questions that she knew I didn't want to talk about. She would try to impose herself in things that I was doing. It would drive me crazy. And when I finally was just like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever it is, and it
right.
became, I knew it was coming. It became part of her charm. Like we know that she's gonna put her foot in her mouth probably and say something that she shouldn't, and it became something that now it's a pleasant memory to look back on. But before we knew some of these strategies, those occurrences aren't so fun to look back on. So if you can transmute the situation, they
Mhm,
actually become positive.
right. Right. Because you can ask the question, what is this person really wanting? What is this person really in need of? I know that it's just the best.
Tiff, you're killing me. You should be like a stand-up comedian because these are great. Oh
Can
man.
you imagine? Like, tell us a time when you got so drunk that you lost your memory or something like that.
Oh
Well,
my.
that's not good. I mean,
Yikes. Tiff said that's a true memory. Holy moly. Or
you
she was hungry.
know, someone that you know very well, that you love very much, taught me to before you drink your moonshine, you should actually take out a lighter or a match and make sure that it doesn't burn.
Doesn't all alcohol burn?
um
Or I
because
guess
if I think it's if the moonshine is true moonshine and it's too strong and too much gas or whatever is in it, alcohol, then you probably shouldn't drink it. I think, right? I'm not
there's
sure.
got to be a
Tiff,
caveat to that because isn't there like some
Tiff,
alcohols that are like
Steve,
98
somebody.
proof? Doesn't that mean 98% alcohol?
Yeah, but I'm not sure that it should. like there was something. All I
Right.
know is that I was told to light it, and if it was burning, if
Don't
it
drink it.
actually caught on fire, don't drink it. So
I'm
which,
very confused by this because aren't there drinks in bars there's shots that you light on fire and then do the shot?
yeah, but I think that burns out.
Oh, you're saying if it's a sustainable burn.
Oh, it's when they distill it in radiators and you get lead and whatnot in it that causes the problem. Oh, thank you, Tiff, for clearing that up.
I bet nobody was expecting a moonshine lesson today, but you're
Right.
welcome.
Because everyone should have a little moonshine around the table. You know.
I don't know about that one, but anywho.
Well, maybe the cook should have some hidden in the kitchen somewhere.
Not sure about that either
Maybe.
because I'd like to be able to eat the food. But anyway.
You know. Um, so yeah, so I hope that we gave you guys some good ideas. And the other thing is that if all hell does break loose, just know that count to 10, count to 30. It'll be okay. It'll be over. It's a day. And then there might have to be some I'm sorry's or, what have you. And if that happens, that's okay too, because again, it's another lesson and it's something to learn. And then you can apply that lesson to the next gathering, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or New Year's or a birthday. You just have some new information that you can apply to a situation.
I'll also add, this just popped into my head. If you're watching this and thinking to yourself, but the stuff that my family does is totally off the cuff and there's no pattern, there's no consistency, and everything is crazy, there is. You just have to pay a little bit more attention to it. And I'm not knocking you, I'm just saying pay a little bit closer attention because there's always pattern. People have habits, people have patterns. The way things are said might be worded differently or whatever, but there are patterns that you can identify. And knowledge truly is power.
Or the pattern is that there is
That's actually, you know what? The last tip. When in doubt, the last tip
use an
from
air
Tiff.
horn.
Use an air horn. Shock the energetic system.
Yeah, yeah. What I was gonna say was shoot.
I
What
was
was I gonna
saying,
say?
what was I even saying?
Oh, pattern.
Oh,
The
yeah.
pattern may be that you never know what to expect, that it is just utter chaos. And in that situation, tornadoes only last a certain amount of time.
And also, if you prepare ahead of time, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to affect you
It's
as
not
bad.
right. The pattern is there's no
Mm-hmm.
pattern. And
Which is
so
possible.
if you know that ahead of time, you know that you're going into it with that. If you have to set your timer on your phone to go off, hey, have a buffer friend that isn't there to call you and say, hey, they need a ride somewhere. Sorry, guys. Thank you
And
so much.
listen,
Dinner was great. Gotta go.
set an alarm. Pretend it's a phone call. I'm not going to
You
judge.
know, then you just do what you gotta do. So we hope that we gave you some good tips and tricks, and we would love to hear from you. We're pre-recording, I think, for
For
next
next week.
Thursday.
Yeah. Monday will be live though for
Monday we will
Shockingly
be
Delightful, and I'm excited about that one because we're going to be sharing some of our favorite Thanksgiving stories, food stuff, just fun stories. It's going to be a very fun episode. I know we say that like all the time, but I'm
fun.
looking forward to that. It's called Gobble Gobble Gobble.
Gobble gobble gobble.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be awake from the tryptophan.
No, it's Monday.
Yeah, we're still going to be eating leftovers.
This Monday before Thanksgiving.
Oh, sorry. I'm in my head. I'm like already there. Like I'm
Yes.
already making stuffing in my mind. I'm already like
I know. I feel like Thanksgiving's like tomorrow, and it's like no, it's a week away.
right. Exactly. That's where I was. So yes, we will see you on Monday, and then
You'll
We'll
see us on Thursday, but we'll be in the kitchen.
Right. Listen to us while you're cooking and then, make some comments and we'll talk about them the next day. Um, just because we'll have fun. We'll probably be watching too and making comments.
And
So,
here's the thing: maybe it'll be at 12, but maybe you're already at your family by then, and they're already acting up. Oh, you know what? My favorite Facebook Live duo is live right now. I gotta go watch this. I'll catch up with you later.
yeah, right.
Use it later on. Pretend we're live later in the evening. No one will know.
Yeah, it's good. Or just play this episode again.
Can you imagine the family's acting nuts and someone's like, hold on 1 second, I'm just gonna pop something on YouTube
Yeah,
in the
I'm
middle of
gonna,
this
I'm gonna put the
episode. It's like, are you all listening?
and here's a trick. You can pull up YouTube on a smart TV and you can just blast us on that big old TV in your living room and
Yep.
just everyone can be watching it and they can learn the tricks and tips and go, "Oh, that's why they said they had to go to the bathroom 5 times today?"
Is that why you've been going to the bathroom every 15 minutes? I was
Oh,
wondering.
I'm
I thought you were having
driving
a
you
bladder problem.
crazy.
Spice it up. You mix them up, spice them up. Don't use the same thing over and over again because you don't want anyone to get concerned about your physical
Yeah.
health.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is just remember nobody can make you feel a certain way unless you allow them to. So if you know that that person typically does what they always do, let them be them, you be you, put up your barrier of light, shine it around you, put out there the intention that you're going to have a peaceful day and that no matter what happens, you're going to be prepared and ready to bounce, ready to move, ready to shake it up and have your tips and tricks ready. That's it. So, that's all I got for today. Why don't we take a couple deep breaths real quick and then we will go back to our daily routine.
Sounds good.
All right. So, big deep breath in. Bring up all your feelings, your thoughts. A slow exhale out. And then big deep breath in. Or a yawn to get in some extra oxygen. Exhale out. And big deep breath in. Hold it. Hold it a little bit longer. And an exhale. Imagine if you had everyone hold hands at the table and you did that. Everyone, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together.
Not a bad idea. You can get everyone on board. It's not a bad idea.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here today. We love it. Keep the comments coming because we always check them out after. And sorry that your internet died, Jenny. Go back and watch. We were having fun talking about moonshine. And we look forward to hearing all of your stories. Afterwards. And what techniques and tips that you used. And Krista, where can people find you?
People can find me at wickedwisdomconsulting.com. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram with my name and Wicked Wisdom Consulting. What about you?
I can be found at mokshagrace.com and also all over social media under Moksha Grace. Tonight is Odinata Community. It is our group coaching session. So if you have not joined Odinata yet, I suggest subscribing. Try it out for a month. Get some coaching. This is the perfect time to work through some stuff. And I also have a Facebook group that we are doing the Thankful Train right now. I'm keeping everybody on their toes and giving them prompts to think about for the day and write down or share a picture of something that they're thankful for and having some fun doing that. And if you want some coaching, if you have some triggers, if you know that your emotions are causing you havoc, then book a call and let's talk about what it is that it would look like to break those old patterns, get rid of those old triggers, and take back control of your emotions and have that, bless
Thank
you,
you.
emotional liberation. So, with that, I wish you adieu, 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 adieu.
And we'll see y'all on Monday.
See ya.
Bye.